tonight, an extended closure.
Because we're very fortunate for what we have, and I'm terrified we're going to lose it.
The contingency plan's in place with the health center in Dauphin expected to be out of commission for months, and why some residents are on edge. Also tonight, who's on the ballot? Who knows?
I think it's unfortunate that we don't have a little bit of, further information.
East St. Paul residents are left puzzled about a lack of transparency in the upcoming municipal election. Plus,
a number that did not exist in our communities a generation ago.
Why a multitude of simultaneous health crises are prompting several First Nation communities to declare public health emergencies.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Hendricks. Marilee is away. Well, we'll get to our top story in just a moment, but first, more threatening weather, possibly producing tornadoes, is moving across the far south central region. CTV's Taylor Brock is keeping an eye on it for us. So, Taylor, what's the latest?
Well, John, there's a bit of a rainbow behind me. I'm going to move all the way out so folks can see really what is going on. Of note, this paler kind of chartreusey yellow we are seeing, including places like Dauphin, Brandon, not quite in Winkler, but this is actually where we are seeing the tornado watch. It was a warning just a few moments ago. That has been downgraded, but there is still that risk because of some very strong winds and even a possibility of large hail coming through the region because of a severe thunderstorm with a low pressure system on its way. This system is moving to the east at this point, though we haven't been seeing it stretch or even move very far over the past couple of hours. Of note, though, we are seeing here in Winnipeg and the rest of southern Manitoba a chance of thunderstorms, much lower, however, in the evening. So it's really kind of hanging around the south central region all the way up to Dauphin, actually. We will keep an eye on this overnight and as the show goes on for any changes. And of note, further north, there is still that air quality warning in places like Thompson and Burchette.
Okay, thanks, Taylor. We'll check back in with Taylor in a few minutes. Health officials now say the hospital in Dauphin will be shuttered for months. This comes after overland flooding caused severe damage to the building last week. The shutdown is causing a lot of stress in the community and surrounding areas. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. So, Jeff, where are patients going if they need medical help or if there's an emergency?
Staffing and services have been beefed up at emergency rooms in neighboring communities, and the province is calling for help from the federal government. Still, residents are worried. There is fear and anxiety in Dauphin with the announcement the Dauphin Hospital will likely be closed for months.
I'm scared. I'm terrified. Like, there's so many people. This is an elderly community.
The hospital was shut down last week because of overland flooding, and 54 patients were relocated to Brandon and other health centers. Now, health officials say the closure will likely last months because of the extent of the damage to the building's electrical and HVAC systems.
None of these decisions are taken lightly at all. We're all highly concerned around not having Dauphin Regional Health Centre up and functioning. Not only does it impact Prairie Mountain Health, it impacts the entire province.
The province is calling on the federal government for medical supports and help to speed up repairs. In the meantime, an assessment clinic has been set up near the Dauphin Hospital. Staff and services have been redeployed to nearby St. Rose and Grandview hospitals, where beds have been added and ER capacity boosted. Accommodations have also been made to help dialysis patients get care.
Ashern and Interlake Eastern was able to support us with dialysis care, as well as Russell and Brandon.
Still, the idea of having to go half an hour or more away for care is stressful for many.
We have to go farther away. And for me, travel is not easy.
Susan Teeley has long COVID.
I woke up in the night with like chest pains and everything, and I did my 2 aspirin, and I just waited it out and I was okay. But yeah, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I could be screwed.
Manitoba's Nurses Union says the wildfires last year and now flooding this year shows Manitoba needs a permanent emergency staffing plan in place.
I can't remember where a hospital has actually had to close the entire facility because of flood damage. So this is unprecedented.
Prairie Mountain Health says they are also looking at enhancing primary care and community-based resources in Dauphin, as well as mental health services. And the federal government says it is discussing the request for help with the Manitoba government.
Jeff, how many months are we talking about? Do we have any sense for when the hospital could reopen?
We don't know for sure, John. Prairie Mountain Health says they will have a better idea in a week or two. That's when they will determine what can be repaired and what needs to be replaced and how long it could take to get some of those needed replacement parts. The hope is they can use external generators to get some portions of the hospital open sooner than later, so it could reopen in phases. The province also says they are having a meeting with doctors early next week to discuss short and long-term solutions.
Thanks, Jeff. New details tonight on potential evacuation plans in the city of Brandon should the Assiniboine River overwhelm flood protection measures in the coming days. Now, these are the areas currently under an evacuation notice. Now, a reminder, that is not an evacuation order. It just means people in these areas should be prepared to leave should the need arise. Mayor Jeff Fawcett says there are 845 homes in those areas, and folks should have bags ready to go with identification, medications, health cards, clothing, and other personal necessities. Fawcett says the peak is still expected to arrive Monday, at which time water levels will rise 7 or 8 feet and will remain high for several more days afterwards. He says current flood protection measures exceed that by another 2 feet.
We would have a good idea if there's more water coming. They're accurately trying to get that information. Some of that water is hitting Sioux Valley sort of even right now. That gives us the guidelines as to what's coming here. We have a good understanding of what is coming. Should the weather conditions not significantly change, we don't expect those numbers to change significantly.
Should the worst happen, Fawcett says people will be notified through emergency alerts, radio stations, and online channels. And officials would begin going door to door. He says the Keystone Center would also be turned into a reception area for evacuees. After receiving more than 2,000 claims following severe weather Sunday, Manitoba Public Insurance is sending more support to the Westman region. MPI is setting up its mobile hail trailer at the Boissevain Ag Arena. Estimators will also be at the Killarney Legion starting Monday for those who have already opened a claim. MPI expects this support to remain in the region for at least the next month. Over 30,000 claims related to severe weather have been opened in the last month. Doug Mountain Provincial Park is reopening after flooded campsites forced an evacuation. Manitoba Park says day visitors, cottagers, and commercial operators will be able to enter the park on Friday at 1 p.m. Seasonal campers are being welcomed back, but those with shorter reservations will have to wait. Nightly campsites will remain closed until July 23rd, as cleanup efforts and road repairs are still ongoing. The park was evacuated Sunday, and people there were given a 2-hour window to be escorted out, with some evacuees being forced to leave their trailers and boats behind. Meantime, the reopening announcement is set to be a big relief for local businesses in the area. Closures during the peak tourist season have been having a negative effect on their bottom lines.
Going into the beginning of July is the largest portion of our revenue stream for the season, and of course we have a short season up here, so it kind of complicates things going into the winter because the revenue needs to be made right now.
Wellman Lake Lodge had a kitchen full of fresh food and didn't want it to go to waste. Instead, it decided to host a community buffet last night. There was no set price for the event. Guests were simply asked to give what they could or enjoy a hot meal with some good company during these trying times.
It went wonderful. We had a full house. Every seat was taken up. People were very generous with donations, which I wasn't expecting, but it was tremendous to have. We were able to manage to, move out most of the food. And right during the dinner was when we found out that Most of the people will be back and allowed this Friday, which was great news. There was a large applause.
Though McIntyre is happy the park is reopening, he says the cancellation of programs like church camps and swimming lessons will inevitably bring fewer people to the area. CTV's Taylor Brock joins us now once again with another look at your Skywatch evening forecast. And Taylor, obviously following some very extreme weather right now.
That's right, John. As mentioned, there is that severe weather, particularly in southern Manitoba, in the central region. We are seeing actually it has extended. So those areas in this yellowy chartreuse color is currently under a tornado watch. So that actually has been downgraded from a warning in areas close to Pilot Mound just about 15 minutes ago, actually. And for folks looking at that gray on the map, folks here in Winnipeg, Portage la Prairie, this gray is for the heat, which is partially to blame for some of the severe weather as we have a low pressure system moving through the province. Again, we'll take another look at a wider view of what's going on. We are seeing this storm system moving east through the province. That's the look at our radar right now. So as you can see, it is moving out. Folks in Brandon, you didn't get this particular system as heavy. However, we are seeing some lightning strikes as there is that risk of a severe thunderstorm as well. We are watching this system move through southern Manitoba at the same time as northern Manitoba deals with an air quality warning because of a wildfire smoke. Taking another look at this region, again, quite actually the southwestern half of Manitoba, along with that tornado watch. There is also the potential for a severe thunderstorm, potentially bringing with it strong winds and hail as well.
The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Right now in Winnipeg, we are seeing some increased cloud coverage with 24 degrees Celsius as our temperature feeling more like 28 with the humidity. Light winds with pressure dropping, humidity sitting at 61%.
Thanks, Taylor. Federal officials say northern Manitoba will have some of the highest wildfire danger in the country this month. The details were part of the Fed's July wildfire update. Our province was among a handful of regions with elevated fire danger risk, including the Northwest Territories, Nunavut, and areas surrounding Hudson Bay. There are currently 796 active wildfires nationwide. About a fifth of those are here in Manitoba. Ottawa says current trends are expected to persist into August. Of the 155 fires burning in our province, 7 are considered out of control. A 39-year-old man is facing a charge of aggravated assault after a young child was found with serious injuries earlier this week. Winnipeg police say the child abuse unit was contacted after the man called for emergency services to come to a home in Elmwood. Paramedics brought the preschool-age child to hospital with injuries police describe as, quote, numerous, serious, and potentially life-altering. The accused was arrested the following day. Police would not elaborate on the relationship between the pair as it could identify the child. A 47-year-old man has been arrested in connection to that fire at the St. Vital Walmart, which sent shoppers and staff scrambling to safety Monday. Winnipeg police allege the man deliberately set the fire to some products in the bedding section, which quickly spread and sent plumes of black smoke throughout the store. As some 200 people fled the building, police say the suspect went to a nearby fast food restaurant and, quote, helped himself to a beverage. Property damage is estimated to be north of $10 million. The suspect was arrested in Winnipeg today by the Bail Compliance Unit. Charges include arson with disregard for human life, possession of incendiary materials, and 2 counts of failure to comply. The same suspect was arrested in January in connection with 2 other arsons in the city. 8 people were sent to hospital following an early morning fire in West Broadway. When fire crews arrived at the 3-story apartment block on Furby Street shortly after 3 a.m., they found heavy smoke coming from the building. Firefighters helped some people get out of the building, while others were able to get out on their own. Paramedics assessed 9 people. 8 were taken to hospital, 1 in unstable condition. The rest were listed as stable. 1 firefighter was also assessed for a minor injury. The cause of the fire is under investigation. 4 First Nations in Manitoba are declaring a regional public health emergency due to a crisis affecting the Island Lake region.
Between 2017 and 2026, 93 of our people have been newly diagnosed with HIV, a number that did not exist in our communities a generation ago.
Increasing HIV infections, as well as the opioid, toxic drug supply, hepatitis C, and homelessness crisis are behind the declaration from Garden Hill, Red Sucker Lake, Wasagamak, and St. Teresa Point. The affected communities say they're not asking to be rescued. Instead, they want the federal and provincial governments to provide them with the resources they need for prevention.
Fund the testing that finds infections early. Fund the treatment that keeps people well. Fund the housing that gives healing a stable foundation.
Among the requests being made is for culturally safe, trauma-informed, non-stigmatizing care, investment in a regional hospital, and sustained funding for a mobile addictions network. Since opening in September, Four Arrows says it has provided 109 opioid treatments, 193 safe supply visits, and currently has almost 60 people on its treatment wait list. As summer rolls along, the countdown to municipal fall elections is underway. But what if you don't know who the candidates will be until just weeks before election night? Would that impact your vote? Well, this is the reality for people living in East St. Paul. To explain, CTV's Joseph Bernacki joins us now live. So Joseph, what's going on in East St. Paul?
John, East St. Paul's municipal election date is set for October 28th. People in the community want to know who's running, but they're going to have to wait until late September to find out. One candidate we spoke with says the move lacks transparency and causes mistrust. Brian Watchko threw in his hat for the East St. Paul Council this fall. He registered last week, but he doesn't know who else did, and he won't know until weeks before election night.
People want to know either way if they're committing to another term or if they're not going to commit to another term, and prepare the community so that others can maybe take the reins.
Voters in East St. Paul head to the polls on October 28th. Candidates could register as of June 30th, but the RM has decided to not publish who is running until late September, and that includes incumbents. Watchko says residents have the right to know, especially if they show up on doorsteps claiming to be candidates.
There's no way for that resident to contact the elections person and confirm if that's an actual registered candidate.
And residents in the community feel the move lacks transparency.
We don't have a little bit of, further information to be able to understand, who's running, what they're about, what their platforms are. The more time that residents have to be able to look into this would be beneficial.
In a statement to CTV News, the RM of East St. Paul says the 2026 election is being run in accordance with provincial law, saying in part, municipalities and senior election officials should not be left to interpret the legislation differently. Clear, consistent guidance from the province would ensure the election process is administered uniformly across Manitoba. Glenn Simard, Manitoba's Minister of Municipal and Northern Relations, says the legislation does not require confirmation of candidates to be made public before nominations. However, he said in a statement, our advice has consistently been that providing this information early is a best practice that supports openness, fairness, and public trust.
If this were done in Winnipeg for City Council, there would be a huge outcry.
Adams says it's only fair for candidates to know early on who they are up against to make a better decision.
Candidates need to know who else is in the ring, because if they don't know who's in the ring, then they can't make a proper judgment as to whether to jump into a race.
Watchko says the lack of transparency makes it difficult for voters to trust the process.
Joseph, how common is this, according to Chris Adams?
John, I asked Adams if he's ever seen anything like this in the lead up to a municipal election. He could not recall a municipality being able to do this in all of his years of experience and study.
All right, thanks, Joseph. Mayor Scott Gillingham is backpedaling on his plan to trim the city's tree planting budget. As we told you yesterday, the Manitoba government is directing the city to divert $1.2 million for upgrades to the Journey to Churchill exhibit at Assiniboine Park Zoo. The mayor previously said that money would be coming from the Urban Forest Renewal Program. However, his office announced today that following public feedback, Gillingham will bring forward a motion next week to maintain the tree planting budget. The funding for the Journey to Churchill exhibit will remain, with a spokesperson saying they're looking at other options to find the money. Well, still to come tonight, tensions in the Middle East ratchet up.
And I say we hit them 20-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20.
The U.S. and Iran trade fire, and nearby countries get drawn into the fray. What this could mean for negotiations to end the hostilities. Looking at the markets, crude oil lost $1.44. The loonie saw little change. Gold futures jumped by $58. The TSX was up 264 points, while the Dow Jones gained 139. The Nasdaq jumped 336. Developing news this hour, Mounties had blocked off a stretch of the main thoroughfare in Portage-la Prairie after an unspecified incident. Shortly after 3 p.m., the force said it had closed a stretch of the 100 block of Saskatchewan Avenue West in Portage while it investigated. By the time our cameras arrived at 5:30, the scene was cleared. However, there was still a significant police presence behind a set of buildings near the corner of Howie Avenue and Royal Road South. Police tape was up in the parking lot, and officers could be seen going in and out of one of the buildings. CTV News has contacted RCMP for more information. We are still waiting to hear back, and we hope to have more information for you as it becomes available. If you purchased beef within the last decade or so, you may soon be eligible for a payment. Proposed settlements have been reached in class action lawsuits accusing the beef industry of conspiracy. According to the suit's lawyers, multiple beef companies are alleged to have taken part in an unlawful conspiracy regarding the supply and/or price of beef sold in Canada. The class action is asking for extra money that the companies received to be returned. How much each person could be paid is still to be decided, but JBS has agreed to pay over $7 million and National Beef about $500,000. BC and Quebec courts will decide on fair settlements later this year. The U.S. and Iran have traded new and more intense strikes for a second straight day. This after President Donald Trump declared the ceasefire was over. CTV's Joy Malbin has more from Washington.
U.S. CENTCOM says it struck about 90 targets, hitting Iran's air defense systems, missile launchers, drone storage sites, hammering away at military infrastructure along the coastline, aimed at stopping Iran's attacks on commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz, a violation, the president says, of the ceasefire.
We just hit them very hard, and I say we hit them 20-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20.
Iran retaliating, releasing video it says are missiles aimed at U.S. military bases in the Gulf. Sirens blaring in Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar. U.S. Gulf allies being drawn back into this conflict. Jordan says it shot down missiles launched from Iran. Clearly losing patience, Donald Trump on Air Force One.
They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
Canada calling Iran's attacks on civilian shipping unjustified.
The Iranian steps that it continues to take to, it appears, maintain control of the Strait of Hormuz are unacceptable.
As massive crowds continue to mourn Iran's slain supreme leader, many making their feelings known. So will U.S. bombs bring Iran back to the negotiating table?
We're now focused on reopening something that was open. So what this war has produced is an emboldened, risk-ready Iran, which may well overplay its hand.
It's uncertain where things stand. Negotiations for a final deal dealing with thorny nuclear issues were supposed to start today. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
A suspected tornado touched down in a campground southeast of Edmonton last night. The Dilbury Lake Provincial Campground is near the Saskatchewan border. Several people were injured. Environment Canada has not yet confirmed that it was in fact a tornado. Two wildfires in BC's Fraser Canyon are still burning out of control, and there are more evacuation orders. The fires are on both sides of the Fraser River and the Trans-Canada Highway. Several structures have burned down, and officials say it's too dangerous to get into some of the hardest hit areas. A former police station could be transformed into a mixed-use housing development. It's located at 1350 Pembina Highway. The developer, Broken Head Ojibwe Nation, is proposing it become a 150-unit, 7-story apartment building. 40% of the units are intended for affordable housing, and a city committee is recommending the proposal be approved. The city is also eyeing changes to a public lane, with the goal of extending it from Dowker Avenue to Pembina Highway and adding lighting and an improved drainage system. The design of the housing development will be finalized sometime in the summer or fall and will be subject to City Council approval. If approved, construction could begin as early as this year and wrap up sometime in 2028. Winnipeg Zambonis could be looking a little different this fall. The city is seeking sponsors for its fleet of 12 Zambonis. Sponsors will be able to wrap their brand logos around them, and they will be required to identify in which arenas they want their marketing materials to appear. Sponsors will also receive recognition on the city's website, as well as postings on its social media channels. The city is seeking a 5-year commitment, and the minimum cost will be $5,000 per year.
The money that's raised for this stays in Manitoba for people like me and my family.
A cool glass of lemonade with a side of hope. How young people are joining the fight against cancer this summer.
Severe weather is rolling through southern Manitoba. We are seeing this particular system flex its strength, actually. We are seeing not just in southern, very far southern Manitoba, also all the way up to the Interlake. It is stretching, bringing along with it not just that risk of thunderstorms, but also there is currently a tornado watch going on. That includes places such, warning going on in places such as Pilot Mound, Brandon, that Chartreuse area, because of that severe storm. Again, taking a look at our long-range forecast, we'll see here in Winnipeg lots of sunshine over the next few days, a lot of heat, but first we've got to get through this severe weather going on right now in western Manitoba.
Summer always brings with it very warm temperatures, and if you're going to be outside, you'll want to make sure that you stay hydrated. And if you do it by buying a glass of lemonade, it could also help people living with cancer. Each summer, the Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation runs a fundraising drive called Lemonade Stands for Hope. The idea is to give young people a chance to help in the fight against cancer. On a hot summer day, a glass of ice-cold lemonade can make you feel great. And as it turns out, lemonade can also help people who aren't even drinking it. Every summer, the Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation has a program called
Lemonade Stands for Hope.
It's a way to get young people involved in the fight against cancer by hosting a charity lemonade stand. Young people like Palmer.
People buy your lemonade and they show that they appreciate it.
Her mom certainly does. At the age of 34, Lauren Rathwell was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer that had spread to her lymph nodes.
8 rounds of chemotherapy and then 20 rounds of radiation. And I was a busy mom of 2 young girls when I was diagnosed.
It was not an easy journey, but Rathwell says the support she received from Cancer Care Manitoba, family and friends was amazing. And now her family is giving back.
We've already hosted actually one and raised just shy of $200, and we're going to continue with that because the money that's raised for this stays in Manitoba for people like me and my family going through cancer.
The Lemonade Stands for Hope campaign officially gets underway on July 17th. But you can have one anytime this summer. Just head to the Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation website for details.
More Tomorrows Together is brought to you by Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation. CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV's Taylor Brock has your complete Skywatch weather forecast and some pretty troubling weather that you're tracking.
Well, that's for sure, John. We are seeing some severe weather roll through Manitoba. I'll move to the side here just to give you an idea of the, well, let's call it almost like a rainbow of watches, warnings, and advisories going on. We're going to start in western Manitoba. Actually, we zoomed in a little bit more than I wanted. Sorry, technical difficulties, but we'll zoom out in a second. So the whole area in this kind of chartreusey color is under a tornado warning. Now, this is because of a storm system moving through Manitoba to the east, bringing along with that the potential for hail, severe thunderstorms, and even because of strong winds, chance that it could produce a tornado. So that is something that we are keeping an eye on tonight. Also, something we're keeping an eye on is continuing to see that air quality warning in northern Manitoba, including places like Brochette and Thompson. Now, Gillam, Churchill, not under this warning right now. However, if you are a little more sensitive, you will likely notice that impact. Okay, let's take a good look at what's going on. We are seeing that right now. Yes, that very angry looking dot is the system that we are talking about right here, particularly in south central Manitoba. It is pushing through, but because this system is actually stretched so much over the past couple of hours, while it hasn't grown in intensity, it has grown in size. We are seeing it stretch all the way up to northern Manitoba. However, it's heaviest right in the central part of the province, including actually the Interlake, where you folks could also be seeing severe thunderstorm tonight. Here in Winnipeg, our storm shield appears to be working. There's a low chance of folks such as ourselves here in downtown Winnipeg seeing a thunderstorm. Different altogether, though, in northern Manitoba overnight. As you can see, that heavier rainfall is expected overnight and into tomorrow as well. So a bit of a rainy start to the weekend for folks there. Further south, though, we'll take a look in just a moment at how hot it's going to be. As you can see, not much of a reprieve with any clouds either. Here in Winnipeg, though, temperatures are expected to be a little cool tonight with 17 degrees as our expected low. Tomorrow starts off with 17 degrees, but things are going to heat up right away with a high of 30 degrees for folks tomorrow. And with that heat, actually, we are going to also be seeing warm temperatures across most of northern Manitoba and southern. So in Island Lake, with that thunderstorm potential tonight, 16 degrees is the coolest it'll get, with a high of 24 tomorrow, with those thunderstorms potentially continuing. We are seeing also a little further to the west that the thunderstorm tonight. However, tomorrow that's going to clear up. Lynn Lake, 20 degrees as the high tomorrow, sunny but hazy there. And as we saw again, that chance of severe thunderstorms in the south. Lots of sunshine tomorrow, though, including here in Winnipeg, where, as we mentioned a moment ago, temperatures could reach a high of 30 degrees. Kenora slightly cooler tomorrow with 28 degrees as the high, but still very hot and with a chance of a thunderstorm early in the morning for folks. And again, just a reminder of those watches and warnings going on. Speaking of which, Ray actually sent us this photo from Sandy Lake from a little earlier in the afternoon. As you can see, those storm clouds quite dark there, as well as just north of Killarney. Thanks to this photo from Scott. You can send your weather photos to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
This is a parasite that's often transmitted through human feces.
And it's now sickened hundreds of people south of the border. So what is it exactly, and what's the risk here in Canada? Medical Watch is next. For thousands of years, human beings have looked to the sky and wondered, is there intelligent life out there? Well, those questions have intensified in recent years, with the U.S. government releasing files and videos of confirmed UFO sightings, or unidentified aerial phenomena, as many now call them. What does the Canadian government know about this phenomena? We're joined now by a person who would know, Winnipeg UFO researcher and author Chris Rutkowski. He's been investigating UFOs for decades. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Your latest book is called Canada's UFO Secrets, disclosing government files on what is happening in our skies. So, what kind of information does the Canadian government have when it comes to UFOs?
Quite a lot, actually. The Canadian government has many files on UFOs or UAP and has been collecting and doing research for many years, dating back to the 1940s. In fact, we have a continuous record of objects that have been reported in Canadian skies from the 40s right up until 2026.
You know, there's a feeling in the UFO community that the U.S. military and government have been attempting to cover up the truth of the phenomena. Do you get that same feeling about Canada?
Actually, Canada has been much more transparent than the United States. I know we hear a lot about disclosure and congressional hearings and people who are coming forward in the military, but we've actually had that in Canada for many years. As a matter of fact, some of the most public cases that people are aware of, such as whatever it was that was shot down over the Canadian Arctic by American jets in 2023, we have found more than 500 pages of documentation about the process involved in retrieving or trying to detect whatever it was that was seen over Canadian skies, including a briefing made for then Prime Minister Trudeau. Yet not a single page of documentation has ever been provided or released by the United States government. So Canada is actually ahead of the game.
So when you were researching this book, did you learn anything that surprised you about what the Canadian government knows?
One thing that surprised me was how involved Canada has been over the years. I mean, we knew that, for example, the National Research Council of Canada had enlisted the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in investigating UFO cases, and that lasted from about 1967 to 1995. And after that point, it seems to have been given the responsibility of Transport Canada and perhaps the Canadian military. I was the recipient of many of the cases because I was working in conjunction with the National Research Council and other agencies. So we know that these things were happening. We do know that pilots are reporting UFO reports, and we do know that we get cases from right across Canada, from coast to coast to coast, and many of them are from official sources, not just the Canadian forces, but also the Transport Canada cases as well.
Based on all of that information, do you have any suspicions about what the reality of this whole situation may be?
Well, right now there actually is sort of a vacuum that we hope will be filled fairly soon. Just last year, there was a report from the Office of Canada's Chief Science Advisor, who reports directly to Prime Minister Carney, advising on what should be done in Canada regarding UAP. And some of that has to do about making the availability of UFO reports more accessible, so that people would be able to report to an office, for example, or that media would be working more closely with the government and keeping track of what's going on.
So in general terms, if you had to lay it out on the line, do you think that this is in fact a real phenomena, either people from other planets, extra-dimensional visitors, something like that? Or do you think there is a more mundane answer to all of this?
Well, my astronomy background says it's very likely there's aliens out there somewhere, but we just don't have the proof or the evidence that they're visiting us. On the other hand, we get many reports from very good observers saying they've seen something. Now, in most cases, these have explanations. But, you know, I'm the ultimate doubting Thomas. I need to have a little more evidence. But, you know, science is taking a closer look. The scientific community is holding conferences. I'm going to one in July, for example, to give a presentation on Canada's role in UAP moving forward. And I think people will be surprised at exactly how involved Canada has been and will be.
Well, if any aliens are out there picking up this signal, they're welcome to land on the roof of CTV, and we'll invite you over to interview them with us.
You're on.
All right. We'll have to leave it there. Chris, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
A parasite often linked to certain fruits and vegetables has led to an explosive outbreak in several U.S. states. 1,200 people in Michigan alone are sick. But so far, Public Health says the bug has not come to Canada. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has a closer look.
From lettuce to berries, some of these healthy staples found in Canadian kitchens are believed to be carrying a problematic parasite in the United States, where more than 1,000 people have fallen ill and dozens sent to hospital.
This is a parasite that's often transmitted through human feces.
It's called Cyclospora. The microscopic bug can't be seen by the human eye. In some cases, the parasite can be found in lettuce, cilantro, basil, green onions, raspberries, and snow peas, just to name a few. Contaminated water used on crops has previously been linked to Cyclospora. Unlike typical food poisoning, cyclosporiasis symptoms can lead to prolonged stomach issues, relapses, and an illness can also last a month or even longer.
The symptoms include watery diarrhea and explosive diarrhea.
As of this week, Ohio had 177 confirmed cases. Just across state lines, Michigan is reporting more than 1,200 cases. Michigan typically records just about 50 cases a year. The Center for Disease Control says it's monitoring roughly 150 additional patients across 17 U.S. states. The specific source of the outbreak has yet to be identified. An email to CTV News states the Public Health Agency of Canada is not currently investigating any Cyclospora outbreaks in the country. Though with imported fruits and produce regularly crossing the border, the country could face a similar outbreak.
It becomes a race to try and find the actual source of contaminated food.
An additional challenge: once the parasite has latched on to a fruit or vegetable, it can't simply be washed away.
While there's no current outbreak here in Canada, summer travel season is in full swing, and doctors are warning those heading south of the border to try and avoid eating fruits and vegetables from South and Central America, the Caribbean, Southeast Asia, and Africa. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic. Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Las Vegas headliner Terry Fader.
A pair of classic rock bands are taking the stage for Fisher River Cree Nation's 20th annual community celebration. That's 90s hitmakers Collective Soul, who is set to headline the event on August 2nd. They're currently on a North American tour, and they'll also be joined by Canadian rockers Blue Rodeo. Openers for the event are still to be announced. More details can be found on Fisher River's website. And some sad news tonight for 80s pop fans. Icon Bonnie Tyler has died. That's Bonnie Tyler, who performing what was probably her biggest hit, Total Eclipse of the Heart. She's also known for other hits like Holding Out for a Hero and It's a Heartache. Now, Tyler was put in an induced coma in May after intestinal surgery. She came out of it last month, but her family said she remained unwell. A statement says she died last night in hospital in Portugal, where she has a home. Bonnie Tyler was 75 years old. Mick Jagger says the Rolling Stones are hoping to head out on tour again.
We hope we go into, Brian and I are really into that, so we hope we see everyone on the road. We want to do it, yeah.
It comes as the band is releasing their newest album, Foreign Tongues, tomorrow. This new album follows the 2023 record, Hackney Diamonds, which the group performed on a North American tour in 2024. Jagger is now 82 years old. He and guitarist Ronnie Wood, who's 79, want to go out on tour again. The 14-track album includes collaborations with Paul McCartney and Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. This is the Stones' second studio album since the 2021 death of drummer Charlie Watts, and the 25th album since the group first formed in London in 1962. And your primetime lineup today starts with 2 back-to-back episodes of The Big Bang Theory starting at 7. Then at 8, a double dose of Children Ruin Everything. And Traders Canada wraps things up at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
You may not be going to the moon, but you can still apply for an upcoming NASA research mission. Those details when we return.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
A handful of things continue tonight here in Manitoba, starting further north where we continue to have that air quality advisory due to wildfire smoke. The Chartreuse area just down to the south is due to potential for a severe thunderstorm that could possibly also produce tornadoes, so we're keeping an eye on that one. And these gray areas, they are actually due to the heat. Taking a look at the heat, we are actually seeing that today temperatures went up to 27 degrees. And things are only going to get hotter as the week goes on.
This is your chance to take part in a NASA mission. The space agency is looking for 4 volunteers to spend a year in a simulated space habitat. The Moon and Mars exploration analog will take place at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. It will mimic conditions on the Moon and Mars. The 4 people will simulate months-long flights to and from celestial bodies. And they'll do things like mock Mars walks and use a rover to travel and explore. The space simulation is set to begin in August. You know, Taylor, I was thinking of taking part in this, but it's during Folklorama, so I couldn't possibly miss that. So,
you know, the only concern is how many bathrooms.
Exactly, there better be plenty. They're there for a year. And we will be back at 11:30. Hope you can join us then.